Many states recognize the contribution of jurors by holding a Juror Appreciation Week in an attempt to raise awareness of the importance of jury service, as well as show appreciation for juries serving that week. The Polk County Clerk of the Courts stops by to tell us about it. It's all coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey, and joining me in studio is the Polk County Clerk of Courts, Stacy Butterfield. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Along with many of your duties, which are numerous, too numerous to mention, one thing that falls under you is jury duty, and it's one thing that you not only this week coming up, but it's every week. It's showing appreciation for those individuals doing their civic duty. Talk to me a little bit about how the clerk's office is involved with the jury process.
Yes, Brian, you're right. Every week. It's an every week duty. It is one of many duties, but the clerk, as the clerk of the circuit court, is responsible for the jury coordination for the courts. And in my role as the clerk of the circuit court, I summons the jurors, the potential jurors, to come and serve jury duty. So on a weekly basis, we average over 200 jurors on every Monday morning that come down to the courthouse to serve in that vital role. As you mentioned, the jury system in our country is one that is the absolute cornerstone to our system of justice. If you're like me, we are citizens here, and every day we go throughout our lives and we enjoy the freedom that we have in this country. And along with that freedom, we have a system of justice that, in my opinion, is second to none because the jury is the absolute cornerstone. You know, our Constitution guarantees a trial by jury of your peers. So every single person that comes before the court has an opportunity to have a jury of their peers. Those juries are the people that make the decisions. So we are taking this opportunity to participate in a national recognition in the first week of May to say thank you to our jurors for those that have served in the past and those will serve in the future.
And the reason that I say that it's appreciated from your end is unless there's something wrong, yours is the first first face that they see when they're introduced to the whole process. Explain to me why that whole process, you being out in front of it and talking to the folks is so important, and recognizing what they're doing is so important.
It is, because it's one of the few ways that every single person can serve their country. You know, there's people that serve in our armed forces, but jury service, and that's a huge sacrifice. But for citizens, even though when you get the summons, many people take it, and I tell the jurors on Monday, I'm sure when you got that summons, you didn't jump up and down and go, oh, I've been waiting for this invitation, because it is an inconvenience, and it's a sacrifice of their time. So, you know, I am there every Monday morning to greet them, to say thank you, welcome, I am so glad you came today. We appreciate it because you are so vitally important. Without you, we can't hold our jury trials. And I think after I have an opportunity to speak with the jurors and they listen, they participate, many people walk away with a greater appreciation for the system that we have. You know, in other countries, many other countries, people aren't afforded the opportunity of a jury by their peers. So it is one of the things that we should be proud of in our country. And so our office wants to make the process as pleasant, as convenient, and as smooth as possible for our potential jurors. So we do a lot on our website. We've provided a lot of enhancements to the system over the last few years to make it easier to interact with our office when you do get a summons.
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed in the years that I've been down here. I think I've been 4 or 5 times, and each year it gets easier and easier to find out whether, you know, you're calling in or you can look up on the internet, and it's a great system that you have.
Well, thank you. You know, we work with the courts every week, and we look at their docket for 5 weeks out to see how many trials are on their calendar. Based on that, we calculate how many potential summons we need to mail for that week, because we want to give people as much notice. You don't want to get a summons in the mail on Wednesday and find out you're supposed to be there Monday. So we give about a 5-week notice. But a lot changes in that 5 weeks. It is a system, it is a process. So as you mentioned, a lot of times you may get a summons for 5 weeks from now, but before you come on that Monday, you need to check to make sure you're still needed, because trials get postponed, canceled, continued. Anything can happen. So on the Friday before your Monday service, we always encourage everyone to check to see if they're still needed. You can check by going on our website. You can look on Facebook. You can call us. There's an automated system that lists the numbers. You can look at your individual service on our website and see, and it'll tell you you need to report or you're no longer needed. So those are some of the enhancements, as well as you may get that summons and go, I can't be there. What do I do? So we've provided online access for you to interact with our office if you want to postpone, you have an excusal, any of those types of things you can actually do online, and then you can then look on our system and see the status of your request. So if you ask for a postponement, you can go online and it'll say postponement granted, here's your new date. Or if it was not granted, it would say denied, need to appear, something like that.
And something that folks may or may not recognize is sometimes trials get moved from other places and you need a bigger jury pool.
Yes.
And you call a lot more names.
Yes, absolutely. And that happens. Hopefully we've, again, allowed for that when we've issued the summons. But with all of the changes, it's just so important for people to recognize, A, check with us, B, if you're supposed to show up, because it's part of the system. And then, on Mondays, we try to select all of the juries that are needed. So most of the time, yes, Monday, you're going to be there all day. I mean, that's just the process. But hopefully, by the end of Monday, one of two things has happened. You either know you've been selected for the jury and when you're coming back, or your jury service may be complete for the whole week because we're done and we didn't need everyone. Obviously, to get a jury of 7 people, 6 or 7 people, you need more than 6 or 7 to go through for the selection process. So you may have to have 30 or 40 people for that trial to try to select a jury of 6 or 7 people. So everyone that's there will not get selected, but the process is hopefully as smooth as possible and organized. And yes, we're asking a lot of people with their patients on Monday, but it is, I think, one of the better systems as far as providing the ability to have to serve and possibly only have to serve one day.
They say the famous last words of a dying business are, we never did it that way before. And the amazing thing about it, like I said, I've been through it 4 or 5 times. You guys just keep improving the process. How do you go about doing as such? How have you improved that process?
One of the things is we ask for feedback. As when I leave on Monday, I say, hey, we would appreciate your feedback on your experience. And we provide them with a questionnaire for them to submit. And I look at it, the judges look at it, the county manager looks at it, because the county is responsible for the facilities, the parking, those types of things. The judges, of course, they're in their courtrooms, and then the clerk's office, our staff. So we get a lot of valuable feedback, and we look at it. For example, one of the things we did was simple things like we provide magazines, we provide Wi-Fi service in the lounge area. There's TVs there. Now, we're limited as to what we can show because you don't want anything with local news. But I think we've even had clips of movies that you can play. We have, we provide refrigerator, microwave, sinks for people that need to bring snacks and lunch so they don't have to go out if they're serving jury duty. We provide some artwork from the arts ensemble.
I was going to say, that is one of the coolest programs. I was over recently and saw the stuff out there, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's something simple like that. You've got a huge room that holds 200 people, and the walls are just blank. Imagine that, just kind of stark white walls. Here you are walking in on Monday morning, you hear somebody tell you you're probably going to be here all day, and you think, oh. So the Arts Ensemble is a wonderful program, and they have partnered with us to provide artwork from their local artists, and they rotate it out about every quarter. Matter of fact, last quarter, as you walked in on the far left was this huge bright green frog, and it was so funny on Monday mornings. I go, how can you not smile when you look at that picture of this bright green frog? And you know, most people, they get a chuckle out of that because it's just a soothing environment, something to take your mind away from, oh, what's happening, because people are scared sometimes. They're nervous is probably the better word for when they come to jury duty. They don't know what to expect. So we try to provide an atmosphere that puts them at comfort, lets them know. The biggest thing is, what's going to happen? What do I need to know? How long am I going to be here? And we try to go through that process. The judge comes in and talks with them. And so I think we've made some enhancements to make the experience as pleasant as possible. And I certainly appreciate the feedback from jurors and potential jurors.
It's an intimidating process, but as you walk through each and every step, you better understand it, like you said. Once you're in the room, you've been talked to by you, been talked to by the judge, how does the jury selection go?
So as soon as we finish, as you described, and when the judge in the courtroom and the two attorneys that are for both sides of the issue are ready for their potential jurors, they send their bailiff, and we escort the pool to the courtroom. And in the courtroom, then they go through what's called the voir dire process. And that's where they ask questions of the potential jurors to see if they want to select them as a juror in their trial. And that goes on all day until they get their jury.
Now, you'd said really some brief numbers, but I think the folks really need to understand when it comes to this whole process, how many jurors really come through the doors, you know, at the end of a, say, you know, of a process and when it's all said and finished?
Well, for example, I can tell you last week we had over 300 people in on Monday morning to pick the juries. I can't tell you right now off the top of my head how many trials we had, but it was a larger number that week. In an annual time period, we probably summons 80,000 potential jurors, but obviously we don't use that many. Again, if you've got a murder trial that's going to go on for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, you're going to have to go through a large number of potential jurors to get a jury. Let's say it's a capital case where it takes 12 jurors, 13 with an alternate, to get 13 people that A, are unbiased, and B, can do it, because it's not an excuse to say I'm too busy at work, but I must say I would think the two attorneys probably want someone that feels like they can focus on the issue at hand. So you might have to go through 100 or 200 people to get 13 people. So that's why the numbers are so large. Last year, I think we had 400 jury trials in that range of jury trials in Polk County. I think I have those numbers right. Yeah, about 400 and so criminal and civil jury trials, most of them being criminal trials. Another interesting point is a lot of people don't know how they're selected for jury duty. So I just want to refresh everyone's memory that the statute, of course, in Florida dictates how jurors are selected, and it's not by voter registration, which is the way it was done 20 plus years ago. It changed, and to be in the selection process, you have to be 18 years of age or older. You have to have a driver's license or an identification card issued by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, and in Polk County, be a Polk County resident. If you meet those 3 criteria, your name comes to our office on a list. And from that list, we have a random number process that's certified by the Supreme Court as to its randomness, because you want to pick people randomly. We tell the computer system we need 500 summons, 600, whatever the number is for each week, 1,000 summons, and then it goes in and randomly pulls out names and addresses and mails you
How
the summons.
far out does this process go?
5 weeks.
Okay.
5 weeks. So each week we pull jurors for 5 weeks from now.
Okay.
And then once you serve, you get a summons and you actually serve. All right. Now service means you're there and you get picked and you serve on a jury, or You're there, you go through the process, and we get done and say, thank you, we don't need you. You're all done. You know, on Monday afternoon, we get to say, usually to a lot of people, thank you so much for your service. You're not needed anymore. Your service is done. Once you serve under either one of those ways, your name is out of the selection process for 1 year. And then at the end of 1 year, your name goes back in. You're subject to random selection in the future.
We have just a little bit of time left, and we've been talking about the Juror Appreciation Week. From the Clerk of the Courts, if you could tell the folks at home why you appreciate what they do, what would you want to tell them?
I'd want to tell them that for me, it's my responsibility to have those potential jurors sitting there for those judges on Monday morning. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for showing up, because it would be pretty intimidating for me to have to look at the judges and say, I don't have enough people for you. So it's my job to manage that process. So I am the first line of thank you to everyone for taking it seriously. We will work with you. When you get that summons, if you've got a problem, there's ways to contact us. We will work with you within our limits of the laws and the rules and all to try to get you to a date that works for you. Because just because you get it for that date doesn't mean we can't work with you. You know, we have to work within the rules. But we'll do everything we can to accommodate you, to get you in there when it's easiest for you to serve, if possible. So I would just say thank you. And please contact us if you have any concerns. We'll do everything we can to make it as less intimidating, is the word I think you used, of a process.
She is the Polk County Clerk of the Courts, talking a little bit about Juror Appreciation Week. Stacey Butterfield, thank you very much for coming on and sharing the information and really spotlighting the efforts of the jurors, past and present.
Yes, it's so important to our system. Thank you, Brian.
The Polk County Clerk of the Courts invites you to join in celebrating Juror Appreciation Week, May 1st through the 5th, to thank Polk County residents for their invaluable contributions to the justice system and to highlight and honor the importance of serving on a jury. This includes both past and prospective jurors for their contributions to the American system of justice. Polk County is very fortunate to have so many dedicated citizens committed to performing this important civic duty, and the Polk County Clerk of the Courts value their personal sacrifices by services they provide to our court and to the community. Now, if you need more information on Juror Appreciation Week, you can give them a call at 863-534-4000 or look them up on the web at polkcountyclerk.net.